I was scrolling through Instagram the other day and I came across a post that had some pretty vile comments on it that brought me back to a really dark time in my life and triggered some very strong emotions within me. So this month is supposed to be Men's Mental Health Month. And I've been seeing a lot of posts from different people online trying to raise awareness about men's mental health. And to elaborate on my first point, this post that I saw was from an ex-UFC fighter who appears to be going through a serious manic episode. I'm not a doctor. I can't identify whether or not he's actually going through a manic episode, but he's displaying a lot of traits that I displayed when I went through a serious manic episode. And the reason why this inspired a reaction out of me and brought me back to quite a few years ago is a lot of people that I thought were my friends at the time when I went through this manic episode actually attacked me online. The reason why I'm making this video is I want to raise some awareness around certain traits that people might display when they're in the middle of a serious mental health crisis. Our brain is a very complex thing, and if your chemicals are off, you can act like a completely different person. I lost myself for a really long period of time, and there were intermittent periods where I would come back, but then I would go back into a psychosis period. I'm gonna share my experience, and I'm gonna share how some of the people that I knew, the way they bullied me online and the things that were said to me, they were absolutely terrible. It never ceases to amaze me a human being's capacity for cruelty. And a lot of times cruelty becomes synonymous with like physical abuse or physically attacking people, but psychological abuse on other people and psychological bullying, especially in this day and age where we're online, can be just as detrimental. Now, I was hospitalized for 8 days. I've talked about this many times. I have worked really hard at recovering from psychosis and recovering from mania. I was medicated for a really long period of time. And when it first happened, nobody really knew what was going on. And I want to share my own insight because when you are in a state of psychosis, you are not aware that you're in a state of psychosis. I'm grateful that my mother had me formed to go into the hospital, and I was forced into treatment. I was forced into taking medication in order to get myself back on the straight and narrow. But while I was in the hospital, I was having these delusions where I was believing in a lot of these conspiracy theories, and this particular UFC fighter, he's been posting a lot of conspiracy theories. He's been talking about how his family is being cloned. He's been arrested a few times. I know what it's like. I've been arrested a few times because of my mental health, and before I had my first episode, I was completely normal. I was a fully functional person. I'm a fully functional person now. I have spent many years going through psychiatry, psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists. I've taken a lot of extra steps to stay away from certain types of people. For lack of a better term, I try to stay away from bad energy. I try to stay away from people who are very negative, that only look at things in a negative light. I try to be around optimistic people, and I try my best on this channel to spread awareness around this specific topic. I used to train a lot of martial arts. I was really heavy into the jiu-jitsu community, and I love jiu-jitsu. But one of the instructors from one of my academies, he took it upon himself to send me some very inappropriate messages online. And he was sending me group chats about how he was perpetuating rumors about me. And I messaged him and I said, listen, I was just in the hospital and I'm really struggling right now, and this is not helping me. Another thing that happened to me when I was going through this is somebody was sending me texts from an anonymous number, and they actually told me to end my life when I was coming out of the hospital. I wasn't sure if I should share this in this video because this could trigger some people. If you're watching this and you're struggling, don't listen to people like this. Your life is important. We need you on the earth, and you can recover from whatever you're going through. I've been in the lowest point of depression. I have struggled with suicidal ideation for years and years. No matter how much I thought about it, there was a part of me that was like, no, we have to push through. And if you're watching this and you're struggling and there's people bullying you online, whatever age you are, you have a purpose on the earth, and it's always better to fight through and see another day. All these people that do this kind of stuff, they're struggling too. When I was in this manic episode, There were things that I did that I definitely regret. There are things that I did that I would never do right now because I have my cognitive function back. Thank God I have my faculties back, because some people, they go into psychosis and they don't come out. It's a little cathartic to share this. And after watching people kind of cyberbullying online, people think if it's a celebrity, they can say whatever they want, they can make fun of people. But I can clearly see that this specific MMA fighter is not aware that he's in psychosis. He records his mother and says it's not his real mom, and you can see that it's his mother. You can look at videos and photos of his mom. Another problem with a lot of this is other people online have a tendency to believe in these wild conspiracy theories, so they end up fueling the psychosis even further. I've seen people reinforcing what he's saying and trying to say that there's validity to what he's saying when there really isn't. You can see that his family is his family. He wasn't cloned. I believed in these kinds of things. I've said it in previous videos. There was times where I thought I was biblical figures. I thought I was the Antichrist at one point. I thought I was like some kind of like apostle of Solomon. There was a guy in the hospital that I was in. He thought he was an apostle of Solomon. One guy thought he was King Solomon himself. These are things that happen when you're in psychosis. And when you're in psychosis, you are not aware that you're in psychosis. You think everybody else has a problem. You don't take accountability for the way you're acting because you're not aware that you're in psychosis. You have a chemical imbalance in your brain. You either need medication, or if you're taking certain substances, you need to stop taking those substances and get yourself checked into a recovery program or rehabilitation. I want people to understand that if you see someone acting really out of sorts, out of nowhere, and they start spreading conspiracy theories online, they start acting really bizarre, they're staying awake for multiple days on end, they probably have a mental health issue. You can see a homeless person in the streets, and a lot of times they engage in a lot of out of the ordinary behavior, and it's because a lot of them have mental health issues and drug addiction. And because this is Men's Mental Health Month, I want people to understand what it's like from the perspective of someone who's actually been there and has come out of it. After all the time that's passed, and I've worked through this, I look back on it and I look at the person that I was when I was in psychosis, when I was in this manic period for such a long time of my life. And I feel bad for who I was at that time. But the problem is when you go through a mental health crisis, you're not yourself. When you see people online and you see them struggling and you see them acting out of the ordinary, and sometimes they may say something to you that's offensive. Sometimes they may say something out of pocket to you. You have to look deeper. You have to look past all of that sometimes. Try to give someone the benefit of the doubt once in a while. I feel like we're living in a society where people are just cut and dry. As soon as someone does something that you don't like, you just cut them off, or people are just unforgiving and they just attack people. And when you have a major setback like a mental health crisis, and it turns into a physical illness and it affects your financial health, it's really, really hard to bounce back. I think it's really important for us to be vulnerable in these situations and share our experience, because a lot of men don't like to talk about their feelings. And prior to all of this happening, I was very resistant to talking about my problems and going to a professional. And I think the most important thing to do when you're struggling is to find the right professional, to find the right counselor or therapist or psychologist, somebody that has an unbiased view of you, that knows how to deal with certain stressors in life and can help you develop healthy coping mechanisms. I'm really optimistic about our ability to gain awareness around certain topics. I'm really hoping that if somebody's watching this and they see someone struggling, that they may hold their tongue, because you have no idea what that person's going through. Even if you see a person in person, if they come across like they're short or they're kind of angry or they're visibly distraught, try to have some empathy for them. Give them the benefit of the doubt. They may be struggling with something. You know, a lot of times, especially now, I try my best to not be too inviting for everybody. I don't want to give my energy to everybody. I don't always smile at people because I'm very guarded of my energy, and I'm very guarded about maintaining my positive mental health that I have now, because it's taken me a really long time to get to this point. You know, so many of us focus on superficial nonsense. We focus on the exterior, what you have, how much money you have. I lost all my money to have good mental health, and now I have good mental health. And you could give me all the money in the world and I would take the way I am now over the way I was before, because before I actually had money and now I'm rebuilding, but I'm way more cognitive. I'm way more aware of what's going on. I'm aware of myself. And I feel like it's my duty at this point in life to spread these kinds of messages and to let people know that if they're struggling, or if their family member is struggling, or if they have a friend or a partner that's struggling, that they can get through it just like I did. Manic episodes can be triggered from a multitude of things. You can go through a ton of stress. You can take a bunch of drugs. You could drink. There's all kinds of things that can trigger a manic episode. You could be naturally bipolar and you could have, months of blowing through all of your money, acting very erratic online, acting very erratic on person, and then you'll go through months of serious depression and you are in the depths of just despair. And I've been in both sides, and I've gone through that for a couple of years at a time. And I had no idea what was going on when it started, and I didn't know what was going on while I was in it. I truly believed in these conspiracy theories that I was perpetuating. I truly believed I was a biblical figure for a very long time. And I'll be totally honest with you, the person that was bullying me online and the person that was making fun of me online, that didn't really help me navigate through it any better. But I have a strong mind, and I think whoever's watching this has a strong mind as well. And you just can't let these kinds of people get to you, because as much as I spread awareness around this, there are still going to be people out there who are cruel and don't care about somebody else's well-being. One last time, if you're going through something right now, I believe in you 100%. You will get through it. You just need to get the proper help, and you need to become aware of what's going on. You want to get yourself around a good support system. There are different communities that can help you through this. There's 12-step programs. There are doctors, there are therapists, there are psychiatrists, there are psychologists. If we're not ignorant and we try to educate ourselves and we try to have more empathy for other people, a lot more people will be comfortable with speaking out about their own issues. And the more you open up, the more other people will open up, and you can develop a community of other people that are going through the same things as you. We're men, but we don't have to act like tough guys all the time. At the end of the day, none of us are really that tough. Toughness to me is being able to face your problems and being able to be open and be vulnerable and not try to put up an image like you're invincible, because at the end of the day, none of us are invincible, but we can overcome. That's all I got for this video. If you want to talk about this topic, send me a message in the comments. If you want to like and subscribe to this video, it helps me reach more people with this message, and it helps me with the algorithm. Have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening. Stay positive. You're going to get through this. And let's spread more awareness around men's mental health. See you in the next video. I'm out.